Hello and welcome everybody who is here live today. My heart's warm. You can see my cheek getting some flushing here, but I also have full sun from the front. We're in nice springtime here in La Tour de Paix. And I'm so happy to be here today because there's so much I have ready for you. And I'm going to dive right into the juicy stuff with you because I know you're here because you're feeling exhausted and you can't rest, right? Yeah, I know what that feels like in my own body. And since the last 10 years, I keep seeing it here in the clinic too, like on a daily basis. It's really remarkable. It's probably also me attracting this as it's one of my specialty area, women's health. I'm Angela Chambers, by the way, for those who I have not met yet. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner, acupuncturist. I studied for many years. I started my studies in 1999. I love saying that, last century. And in Sydney, Australia, and I went to China and to England, and I learned so much about Chinese medicine and um, the philosophy, the wisdom behind it. And I always knew for us women, there's some treasures there. There are treasures there. The view that we have here on menopause and aging and all those things, I don't like it. And I've decided a long time ago that there's got to be a different way. And that's what I've been exploring for me, for you, and for all of us, because I don't like teaching things that I don't know how it feels myself and that I have practiced on me. So everything you get here is really gone through my own body, my mind, my heart, and has arrived here. And today I'm going to speak to you as if you're my patient sitting here across in the clinic. In case that you can't come here, I want you to know this. And I also want you to know that this is the things we're doing in the Yin Sanctuary. That's what we practice there because tonight you're going to take a lot home with you. You are not going to forget tonight very quickly because it's so powerful information what the three treasures give us that it changes the way you see yourself. But afterhand, we have to make this knowledge embodied and we have to practice it and we have to create rhythms and rituals and ways that it makes it easy for us to stick to the plan. Because otherwise, we start something and we stop. We try and it doesn't work. And it just creates this cycle of disappointment in ourselves. And that is one of the biggest chi leaks. And shortly, we are going to discover the chi leaks, and you really want to know those because the moment you know them, you will see them differently. It's brilliant. I see it on a daily basis. I have a lot of new patients coming recently, a lot of women, a lot of middle-aged women, and it's the similar patterns in different colors. And so what I'm sharing with you tonight is really that. So you felt this kind of exhaustion, you feel this kind of tiredness that even if you have an okay night of sleep, it doesn't fix it. You try and rest, you lay like yourself onto the couch and you think you're resting and why are you still tired? And it's driving you insane. I know, and you also have been doing a lot. It's women that are super capable, that are intelligent, wise. They are the ones that everyone comes to for their problems. They're the ones that are holding everything together. These are the ones that are suffering from this because we keep everything together. We keep our body together. We keep our mind together because we have so many people around us that we're also serving. Um, I was talking about that today in the clinic this morning. I had this phase when my children were small, and I remember there was a phase of life where 5 years passed, and I feel like I was like a chicken without a head. I was just running and trying to keep things together. And that's the same feeling. It doesn't matter if you have small children, if you have a very demanding, high pressure job, if you have aging parents, or other challenges that are in your life and that are needing your attention. And so so I'm just trying to keep to the plan, so I'm not telling you too much at once. That is sometimes my problem. And so you're so used to manage, you're used to function. You know, you've got a little headache, a little back pain, maybe your foot's hurting or your shoulder, but you keep it together. You get up and you do what you need to do. But you can feel that something inside of you is getting a little more quiet, and that something inside of you, it's almost like that little flame, that little fire that you used to have is burning down. And it gives you this feeling of like, why am I doing all of this? Your nerves are frazzled, like you tend to snap at the people you love, or you're just impatient. You're like in the car, you may experience road rage, and you just feel that your body feels different than it used to. Something's gone different, and you just don't know what it is. And what I notice a lot also is that that creates this feeling of fear. It makes us scared when the body is not functioning anymore the way we used to. And we we could do everything, we could go to bed late, we could do all these kind of things, and it was never a problem because we had the reserves. But now things look a little bit different. You know, you probably have read a lot about it. You may have tried supplements and lots of different things, try to be more disciplined or more positive, or, try to put new things in place that after only a short amount of time, you realize you just don't have the energy to do them. You feel scattered and overwhelmed and this foggy head. And I'm here tonight to tell you that there's things you can do, but first, we have to understand what's happening. First we need to get a map. We need to see, this is how we can look at the body. This is how the Chinese medicine has looked at the body for thousands of years. And that's what we're gonna explore in a minute. So Chinese medicine has a very different way of describing the body. It has more like, if you maybe you don't see it very well, but here behind me is the map of the body. They look at the body like a landscape, a beautiful landscape. And I love that image. It's such a beautiful image when you look at it this way. And as we discover more, you see it's so poetical. It's a beautiful, gentle, and wise way to look at how energy moves through the body. It offers a map for midlife that Western medicine does not offer us. And it offers us hope and understanding for our own energy system and for the second part of our life. It's a map that also helps us to understand why we can look like we've got everything together. Most of these women I see on the outside, everything looks perfect. Things are in place, the facade is intact. It's inside where the storms are happening, where there is so much, how do you say, rumination going on. You can't sleep at night because the mind is just going and going and going. And it's a horrible feeling. But like I said, it doesn't have to stay this way. So let's look at something that's so cool from Chinese medicine. And if you ever heard of the Huang Dinei Jing. The Huang Dinei Jing is the classic of internal medicine. It's the Yellow Emperor's Canon of internal medicine, and it's one of the basic guidelines and basic books of Chinese medicine. And it's beautiful because it describes the rhythm of a woman's life in a 7-year cycle. And that 7-year cycle I'm going to read to you because it's really, I can't say it better. If I find it now. Anyway, I can tell you like this. So the 7-year cycle, at 7 years, the essence is starting to go to the teeth, to the bones. At 14, the heavenly essence starts to arrive in the body. So we begin to bleed. then it continues like that. And at 49, the heavenly essence, which is the menstrual blood, starts to dry up and to not flow externally anymore. And that is where the key happens. That is where the energy transfer starts to happen in a woman's life, because instead of her bleeding every month creating a nest in her womb to receive a child, if she receives one or not, this is an enormous amount of energy that the body uses to create this nest, to make it in perfect condition every single month. And then when it's not used, it's flushed out, including all the toxins or a lot of toxins from our body. Menstrual blood is also full of stem cells. It really is a heavenly fluid. So instead of us creating that every month and losing it every month, now this essence is starting to turn inwards, and we can use it to nourish our own spirit, to nourish our heart, to nourish our own body. And that is the essence of the second part, and the development in a woman's life is to become wiser and wiser, to be more and more nourished through her own essence. And of course, this is a journey, this is a practice. It's not like boom, and tomorrow we're doing it. But to have that vision, I think, is so, so powerful, and takes away the attention from letting it be drained into the outside world everywhere where they're trying to pull our attention, to diminish our confidence in ourselves, or to not see what amazing creatures women are, and that every person who walks in the street has passed through the gate of the womb. And that needs to be remembered, and it will help us to turn this essence back within and to appreciate that journey, rather than to fear it as like we're finished. We're not finished. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. And so it's really a time to take yourself the most serious than you ever have in your life. It's an invitation, because it's not a decline, but it's an initiation into a different way of being. So classically, in classical Chinese medicine, we distinguish between pre-heaven essence, that is which is given to you by your parents. The moment they made you, you got a bit of them each, and that created your bit of the pre-heaven essence, like a packet of energy and genetic potential that is you. And then the post-heaven essence is what you acquire through breathing, through eating, through moving that through your body. So that is the part that we're going to look at tonight, because that is what we can influence. We cannot influence what we have been given. The heavenly gift of our essence is a gift. And it's good to see that as a gift, with all its flaws and beautiful sides. So for many women, what feels like depletion in midlife is happening largely at the acquired level of Jing. So at that second part, that acquired Jing that we create on a daily basis, which means it's not a final verdict. It is what we can supplement and nourish every single day. So that time is made for this. So it's so important to realize that in the second part of life, you become your greatest project. Channeling the energy that you've been channeling constantly into the outside world, into creating life maybe. Maybe you've had children, which costs a lot of Jing. Childbearing costs us women Jing or essence. Jing is essence, interchangeable. And especially if we have a lot of childbirth in a row and we don't have enough time to recover. In China, there's hospitals where you go for whole months and they care for you, they cook for you, they make sure you sleep enough, because they understand how important it is to restore the essence of a woman after she has given birth. A woman is the potential of the country, truly, and it's seen like this more, not obviously not to perfection either, but more than here. Or I remember living in England, and I didn't give birth in England, but a lady told me that she had to go back home straight after the birth. And I remember how that shocked me. If I thought I was giving birth in Manly, Australia, in the Manly hospital, and it was such a beautiful experience because we stayed for a week and we learned how to care for the baby. And I remember how it nourished me so much instead of going home and having to already do the household again. So that is a very Jing leaking practice. Um, so let's go into the three treasures. That is what you need to know to understand where you are leaking energy mostly from your body. So then you know where to start. And most women are depleted because of that, because energy is leaking from more than one of these three levels at once. And no one ever shows us in school about energy and about how we lose or how we create energy. So each of these treasures corresponds to a part of your being. If we start with your root, like think of your root, your lower chakras, your lower body, that is where your essence is stored. Between the kidneys sits that, imagine it as a ball of light that gives your whole body the potential to live. When this essence is used up, that's when we're finished for this life. So you have the essence to last you through life, and depending on how you live, if you live in a way that costs a lot of Jing, and I will tell you what costs a lot of Jing, then your Jing is used up earlier. If you live in a way that nourishes your energy and nourishes your Jing, you should live longer and better. Because Jing is really the body's deep reserve. You build it very slowly. It's not Qi or energy is built much quicker. It's also slow to spend. Like it's the nights after nights of not sleeping that is starting to drag from your Jing. Or things like bungee jumping, where you have a huge release of fear hormones in your body. That's a massive. Imagine the Jing also as your bank account, your investment account that is sitting there and should be making you money. But if you do a bungee jump or use bungee jump for anything that is super stressful on your system, like a shock, like a very intense experience, taking drugs also, for example, costs you a lot of Jing. And that starts to take away from your reserves. And that is when you start to feel that kind of tiredness that you came here for. When your Jing is starting to give you signs, it sounds like that. That kind of exhaustion of, even if I had holidays, I'm still not restored. That kind of tiredness. I will look at the questions in a little while. I'm going to try to keep to the program today because my mind is like woo otherwise. And so this is also your resilience. You know, the Jing is your resilience. How good are you with reacting to stress that comes into your life? Do you flip out immediately? Do you lose completely? Do you fall into fear? All of this shows us how your Jing is doing. And it's also what leaks over the years. Jing doesn't leak in one night not sleeping. Jing leaks over the years through chronic sleep deprivation, relentless stress, when you overgive without replenishing. So that's, for example, the childbirth. If you had a child every year or whenever you can again, that starts to eat away at your own essence as the mother. Pushing through your body signals all the time, also over years. And living in cold, damp environments is not very great for our Jing either. When you're never really grounding, when you're very disconnecting from whatever it is that grounds you in your life. Also, pain in your lower back, in your knees, that dragging down pain. It's not the usually not just the quick lumbago, but the dragging pain that sits in your lower back and already hurts in the morning. And unfortunately, or maybe also fortunately, midlife is the time where the body just goes, no more. I don't have the reserves anymore to give them to you like this. The bank account is now on zero. So that's why these signs are turning up now and not 5 years ago. Because in midlife, and I'm speaking directly to us women, we don't only have that change, but we also have the change of hormones in our body. So it's almost like a whole business is restructuring. Everything on the inside is changing. So we are a little bit less interested in the outside world and their problems. And it's interesting because I see that also so regularly here with the women that come. With the descending of the estrogen, we really become a little less the good girl. It just happens naturally because estrogen is the one that gives us this padding to take, because it makes us create the families, to nurture the children, to bear the husbands, whatever they do. And then as the estrogen is decreasing and there's an imbalance with the whole hormone household, we are becoming more impatient. Our body is like, no, you don't do this anymore. And you will have symptoms that are new to you. And that's a typical sign of that we have reached a certain limit. And also, once you understand that to nourish the level of Jing, it takes time, but it's super worth it. It takes things like sleep, deep sleep in dark rooms, warmth. You know, I sleep every single night on a biomat for that reason. There's nothing I look more forward to than cuddling up on my beautiful warm biomat. And that warmth I can feel as with age, even though I know a lot of women feel hot at night, you can always turn it off. But this dysregulation of the temperature management in the body is also sometimes hard in this stage, but also that the more we nourish the basis, the better these symptoms will be able to balance. You need stillness for the Jing. You need to be alone. You need to be able to digest life more. Boundaries become a super important part of our life, and I think it's really important for our social life and to live with the people we love, is that we learn that there's different ways of boundaries. There are boundaries that come from this kind of exhaustion when you're overreactive and every little bit just makes you react very strongly. And that is not because you're crazy or because you're weird. It's because your body is really in emergency state. It may not yet present as that on the outside completely, but you can feel it on the inside. And there is another way of boundary that comes with nourishing yourself, and that is the way of boundaries where you're just so full that, first of all, people don't even try to come into your boundaries. And secondly, you become so calm and clear at stating how you want things and how you don't want things. And that is boundaries from a nourished place, which I personally find more that's what I want to have. I want to have those kind of boundaries. I'm done with this overreactiveness that comes from just being exhausted on the inside. So let's look at the second leak. The second leak that you have, and the second treasure that you can leak, is your chi. Chi, Qi, energy, loosely translated, but it's basically your life force making every cell alive of your body. And that life force you get by what you eat, how you move, how you drink, how you rest, and then how you metabolize all of that into energy. That's basically what we do in our energy creation. It's your functional daily money. Imagine your $100 of chi, so good because You get it. $100 of chi comes from what you eat, how you move, what you drink. That creates your chi for the day. So if you don't sleep, you may only have $80 of chi the next day, only 60. But your managing the body still costs you 40. So it leaves you 40 to live. So look at it that way, and you start to be very, very different with how you manage this. It is generated and restored through food, breath, movement, circulation, meaning, and your attention. It is the currency that carries you through the day. And it's where most of the women I see leak the energy because they don't understand yet the power of their attention and intention. So chi goes where attention goes. It leaks through unresolved loops, this looping thinking, the constant again and again without finding a solution. Things such as unfinished conversations, relationships where you are doing all the emotional work, or you're the one who is organizing everything and managing the whole relationship. Every time you say yes, when your body said no, you're paying a little bit of chi. When you carry emotions that were not yours to carry, costs you chi. And when you show up and you feel like you're performing, for example, also costs us quite a lot of chi. So it's good to remember that these things are not free. Actually, nothing's free. So every hand movement costs us something. And that is why emotional cultivation is such a fundamental concept in Taoist energy cultivation, because every emotion costs us money. So we learn to choose if we really want to get angry at everything. It's too expensive. We want the chi to create stuff maybe, or to interact, or to dance, or to do something else. And so check for a moment your jaws. That's where we hold a lot of this tension. That is where I love the facial gua sha routines, for example, in the evening. Jaw, neck, shoulder is where sometimes we're like this and we're like, yeah, I'm so relaxed. Yeah, so relaxed on the couch. And then you realize, like, shit, no, I'm not at all relaxed. But you can only see that when you allow yourself the time to look, to sit, to be. So we must start to value yin and the power of doing nothing as the basis of doing everything. If you don't know how to do nothing, you will never be able to do everything. So doing nothing is not a luxury, it's the basis of the creation of chi. It's beautiful. The more you value it, it just becomes such a luxury you can bathe in. Doing nothing, looking out the window at the clouds passing by, and knowing that that's the time when your liver digests, when your body digests the food you've eaten, the experiences you've made, the people you meet. Nothing, like everything has to be transformed in your body, and your body has to choose with every interaction. Do I keep the energy? Do I expel it? Where do I put it? That's all work that's happening while we are connecting with people, for example. So our body is like a tuning fork. It gives us so much feedback all the time. And the interesting thing, and that's one thing that I go deep in the Yin Sanctuary, for you to know the 5 energies of the 5 elements, the 5 seasons of life, the 5 seasons of a year, they are a blueprint that you can use for anything. And so for example, in regards to holding pressure in the body, you will see that your wood, the part of you, you have all 5 elements within you, but there will be 1 or 2 that are more dominant than the others. And so your wood has this tendency to feel like it has to change everything right now. Everything has to be changed right now. Or you feel this frustration that you don't know your clear direction. That's your wood. The jaw and shoulder tension, that's your wood element. So in the Yin Sanctuary, I go to the wood section, I do the wood sounds, I do the wood movements, I do the wood wisdom. I eat for my wood to help it to calm down and chill the F out. Sorry, my language. Your fire is the one that is overextending herself, laughing all the time, doing a performance for everyone, just so that everyone likes her and gives her the validation. That's the fire wound within us. The having to be good to everyone and nice to everyone and pleasurable to everyone. Fire. Your earth is the part of you that keeps doing things for people that don't actually even respect it, that don't even thank you for it. But if you keep doing it, it's because your earth element is weak. Or you keep feeding others while you forget to eat, you know, yourself. That's your earth. Your metal tends to overanalyze, to be very cutting and very judgmental to yourself. Very judgmental. That's the finger, like, why aren't you doing it better? Why aren't you stronger and more disciplined? That's your metal speaking. Perfectionism also, that's a big one. Trying, instead of, you know, for example, with the practices you learn today, your metal would be the one who says, yeah, but first I have to know more about Chinese medicine before I can do these things. Nah. For example, that's also perfection, trying to have to do it perfect and using that as an excuse to never even do it. Instead of just imperfectly starting and promising yourself, you just do it every day, a little bit, something in that direction. That's it. Perfectionism will just keep holding you back. Your water is what withdraws, that is fearful of the future and constantly already, instead of being in the present moment, it thinks about the future and oh, this could happen and this could happen. And as this could happen, you feel your shoulders rising, your whole bladder meridian constricting, and here you go. That's the tension of the water element. This, something could attack me from behind. That's the feeling in the body. And that's the beauty with the acupuncture. We put a beautiful few needles and the whole body goes, oh, thank God I don't have to hold the whole time. Because this holding, that's one of the biggest chi leaks. Imagine chi leaks, imagine a water balloon and you do some little holes into the water balloon and you see this water draining from the balloon. That's a chi leak. That's how I see it. I almost see it visibly in front of me when I meet people. And which one do you feel within you? Like allow this to sink in, and you can also watch the replay if it was a bit fast for you. But this is something interesting to know about yourself. Which is the first one that you felt in your body? As oh yeah, that's me. Yeah. Knowing yourself is the first step, and then the map is easy. So the third leak we're going to go into, yeah, keep dropping your question, your comments, I will go through it, but I'm going to stay on my flow right now. So the third leak is your Shen, that's your spirit. It's beautiful, your spirit. That is what you see sparkles through your eyes. And every day you can look at yourself in the mirror and compliment your sparkle if you want. It will make your heart warm and help you radiate more. Because Shen is the spirit of the heart. It's your presence, it's your clarity, it's your coherence, it's the light behind your eyes. And this is the one that is most subtly the one that leaks, and often the most painful one, because it happens when everything looks perfectly fine on the outside. It's like the spirit is just slowly draining away, and you don't recognize yourself. It's funny that the sun is just setting and it's a little intense, but maybe it's because of the Shen subject. And so everything looks fine from the outside, but inside you feel your life force kind of draining away. You're not interested anymore in things. You certainly don't have a libido anymore. And yeah, it's just kind of depressing. This is, for example, where I would use an oil such as wild orange or an oil to help revive the spirit several times a day, like to breathe it in and just to remind, because the beauty with scents is that the body doesn't care if you believe that they work or not, they just work. While you still think about if they work, they're already working. So essential oils are a wonderful way to help the spirit. And the other thing is that Shen, I had a moment, I remember when I was about 30, 20 years ago, I remember a new year. My son was just born and my daughter was 1.5. And it was this, he had night, this where they wake up at night and then they scream, but they're sleeping. Night terrors. And I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted. And it was my birthday. And I remember sitting there with these two kids. And I mean, everything was fine on the outside. Everything looked fine. But inside, I just thought, oh my God, is this my life now? Like I could just feel my energy was, it just felt dead. I just had to function, get up, do these, do nappies, do this, do that. It was nonstop for a few years in a row. And so I have a lot of compassion. I know what it can feel like, this feeling of energy draining away. And obviously, there's other ways how the Shen is slowly draining away, and sometimes also fast. But it's your spirit, and your spirit is based on your Jing and your Qi. So that's good to remember too. It's more difficult to work directly with the spirit. It's usually more intelligent to nourish the basis that the spirit rests in. You know, if your body's Qi and your body's Jing is nourished, then the mind can rest in that. When the body is in fight and flight and in total depletion, the mind has no place to rest in, and it's constantly in search for survival and for a solution. You know, you lose Shen under chronic pressure when you live in relationships that are very unstable and emotionally draining. Self-abandonment, like your body experiences it as an abandonment if you don't listen to its calls and to its messages. And when we tend to, for example, just medicate away the symptoms, our Shen will suffer. Of course, sometimes medication is absolutely necessary. This is not about that, but it's just something that will affect the Shen. Also, drugs again, drinking, all those things will disturb the Shen. So, Jing, you learned about the three treasures now. I think to me, this is one of the most important messages that I feel I can transmit to the world, explained in a way that it makes sense to you. Because everyone can read it in a book, you can read it everywhere on the internet, but to understand it within your own body. So take a moment actually with me, take your hands to your lower belly, just below the belly button, close your eyes. As you inhale, let your belly just become big like a Buddha belly. Let the whole lower belly expand. And then as you exhale, exhale through the mouth until there's nothing left inside. And then just continue with a very relaxed belly and just circle your hands a few times on that lower dantian area. Feel how your attention and intention goes to that golden light in the center of your pelvic bowl. And it's good for you to remember this. When there's too much energy circulating in your head, bring your energy down into your belly or into your feet. Now move your hands a little bit higher up to the area of your solar plexus. Yeah. Your center of chi, the production area of qi, your digestion, and where everything that comes into you, energetically, physically, mentally, spiritually, needs to be transformed, digested, and metabolized so it can be used for your energy system as daily qi or expelled from your system. Just feel the warmth of your hands on that solar plexus area and thank yourself for that center. Like, see it and honor it and value it. You can even put a little smile on your face, a smile that is directed to your inside, to your inner world. Beautiful. Now take your fingertip and place it between your eyebrows on extra point yin thumb. And feel that point. You can even put 2 or 3 fingers on there. I quite like a little bit of a bigger area. And only with a very gentle pressure, imagine how your focus, your intention, your yi is condensing there. All your energy is coming together to this point. So your intention is clear. Your focus is clear. And those 3 energy centers are aligned. Beautiful. Now let that go and just slowly sit. Just feel the effect of this very slow, guided energy cultivation practice. Just to be aware of the 3 treasures within you. Feel how your shoulders soften a little bit, maybe even your jaw. It's nice to just be still for a moment, to let the mud settle and to notice how much comes up in the mind, how many waves of thoughts are passing through, and how you can continuously bring your attention back to this lower belly, to the heavy root of your body where you're connected to the earth below. And the other part of you is aware of her head and how her head is lifted towards the sky. And the spine in between is like a channel, energy moving through up the back of the spine, down the front of the body. And this energy circulation is like you're just a little human battery. Yin, or the negative pole, is below. Yang and the positive pole is above. And your energy needs to circle smoothly in between those 2. Up the back, down the front. Bring your hands back to the lower belly, one on top of the other. Rub the area gently. And now bring the hands together, rub them as well. I wanted to show you this point a little bit later, but I don't know, I just feel like showing it to you right now, and that is kidney 1. So I'm still wearing my woolen winter socks. So take off your socks or not, but find the first part of your foot here. That is your kidney 1. And then you put the foot on top of your knee, and you can just press down like this. Almost using your body weight to gently lean a bit forward, press. And this point is the most yin point connecting to the earth below. And you can always use it to ground yourself when you need to, when you feel that the energy is going too much up into the head, when everything is overheated in your system and you need to bring the chi back down, especially before going to bed. This point is gold. Keep doing it while I continue to talk. Like if you have essential oils, you could use something like vetiver on that point, or serenity blend, or even just lavender or frankincense are beautiful to help you in the evenings. Now I'm going to have a look at the chat. Let me see if there's anything else. What is a biomat? Yeah, that's a good question. It's a wonderful thing. It's something I gifted myself many years ago. It's kind of expensive, but there's now other variation that you can find. It's a mat made out of crystals. It's in mine, it's amethyst and tourmaline crystals to help balance the energy field. And then it's plugged in into this is actually I have one in the clinic too, so the patient lie on the biomet too. It comes with this. And so you can choose the temperature and it cleanses your electromagnetic field. You can make it warm or keep it cool. And yeah, I don't know. I just love this feel. I feel like it's a human charger. Infrared mat, exactly. That's what it is. It's so true that stop being a good girl, start to become more selfish for myself. I cannot give that much anymore on my environment. I need it for myself. Yeah, that's right. And there's nothing wrong with feeling this way. It's a message from our bodies that says it was okay until now, maybe, but now things are different. And it's okay to change sometimes the way you do things. And midlife is the perfect timing for this midlife, and especially if you're here and you're still in that time, you can really create yourself a beautiful midlife if you dare to be more selfish. That's definitely one of the keys, and it's not easy for a lot of us because we've been trained so much to be obedient, to be more a serving nature, which, in many ways also is beautiful. It nourishes us as well. But if we nourish without being nourished, it costs us too much. So I'm happy you feel that, Betty. It sounds like all of my elements are imbalanced. I know everybody who hears that says that. So please don't worry about that because it's true that it could be that all of them are a bit imbalanced because each one affects the other one and it goes in a circle. So wood affects your fire element, fire affects your earth, earth affects your metal, metal affects your water, and water affects your wood. So all of that is in the Yin Sanctuary. Join us in there if you want to make this a practice. And at the moment, I have an offer for the whole year is either 444 euros or it's two payment plan is also available. We also offer the monthly plan at 44. And I go in there live. I share all the seasonal wisdom about the five elements. There's a whole library of my signature course, the 5G, in there. So that's what I mean. Like, this is what I created it for. You can go in there, and it's not one of those communities where there's every day something new. No, I don't have time for that either. And I know that you don't either. But it's a sanctuary where you go to resource yourself, to find the practice you need, to listen to some wisdom about the season, to come and ask me. Like you can come in there, show me your tongue, and we can talk a little bit. I can't do a full diagnostic, obviously, but I'm more than happy. This is where I go and I'm present to all of your questions, and we can make it very individual in there. Wood and water. Yeah, wood and water. Wood is very active at the moment. So if you have a dominant wood element, you will feel it more in springtime because that's when your liver is super active. Mm. And I just made a call in the Yin Sanctuary about the liver, the foods to eat to support her in this season, the practices, the sounds, and our liver. Remember, our liver is I always call her the filter of our dishwasher. If and from 35 onwards, she's getting a bit cloggy. So, like a dishwasher filter has to be clean if you want your dishes to be clean, your blood to be clean. So, the liver now, and she's also the one who has to manage all our emotional traumas, our emotional tension. So, our lovely little liver deserves at least a minute of inner smile a day, I would say. Try to give her that if you can. Which oil for the spirit? Yeah, wild orange is definitely a good one, but for the spirit, we also very often use the flower oils. Flowers have a way of enchanting the spirit. Yes, I thought Shen lives in the heart, but it is the mind. Yes, exactly. In Chinese medicine, there's no difference between the heart and the mind. It is one. It's so beautiful. The heart mind is one. So if you want to work on your mind, you also work on the heart meridian, for example. So in the Yin Sanctuary, you will go to the practices for the fire element. You will get to know your fire element and see how it works and what are the deficiencies it can have. You know, you can have more of a heart chi deficiency, or you can have your heart overreacting. So there's different patterns. Yes, so chi written, some people write it with C-H-I. I generally don't. I write it with Q-I. Chi is life force energy. It is someone without chi is dead. That's how you see the difference between chi. You know, if you've ever seen someone dying, you can see chi leaving the body. Chi is your life force, and the Jing is so the Jing is the basis of your life force. And to create the Chi for every day, you need to take some of this potential of Jing. And so, if you create good Chi in your daily life, you need less of your basis. If you create very little Chi, you only eat processed food, you're stressed all day long, you dehydrated, you produce very little chi, and so you have to use your reserves the whole time. So you will end up all dry and brittle. Sometimes I like to use what can happen when we don't look after it. I know it's not always the nicest way, but it's still good. I think we make bigger changes when we see, like for the posture, if you see in the streets people walk, when they walk like this, and you know, later in life, you're like, oh no, 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 I can still do something. Stand up. Use your spine in the right way. And so it helps us to remember, okay, my Jing, like resting is investing in my bank account. It's not being lazy. Resting is an art. Look at it as an art, because not many people can't do it anymore. I can see that on a daily basis here. It's very difficult to switch from constant chronic fight and flight into a nervous system that is resting and restoring. When we lost that connection, it takes some time to re-establish that. Thank you for Steffi for answering so many questions in here, and I love that you ask questions. I love questions. Does cannabis disturb the energy if it helps with relaxation and healing? What about microdosing? Yeah, that's very interesting subjects. I mean, I can't really discuss that here on this right now, but that is one of the questions I would happily answer in the Yin Sanctuary. But yes, drugs in general, anything that changes your state of being is disturbing your Shen. So yes, it is, even if it helps you relax, because it's not a real relaxation. You think you're relaxing. Your mind is numb, but your body is not relaxing. So it can sometimes help us numb for many years. And it's understandable. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not judging anyone for numbing themselves. The world is sometimes a hard place to bear. And so every person has found some kind of strategy to numb. For some, it's running every day for 2 hours. For others, it's cannabis. For others, it's a wine every day. Spirit and libido, are they two different things? Interesting question. I would say they're actually very connected. You know, your libido is directly related to your sexual life force. Life force running through you, the sexual expression is in one way as a child, but as we move into menopause, um, sexual life force is channeled into creativity, into your spirit, into nourishing your inner kingdom, and also in sexual activity. Like libido does not have to stop at midlife. I promise you that. That is not true. No libido means your body is exhausted or blocked. But libido is something, yes, it may change with the hormones, and it also relates obviously to your partnership, to many things. But please don't just believe that libido is finished because you're 40 or something like that, because that is totally not true. And here in the clinic, um, I speak about that a lot because I can see the power of the sexual force for women into creativity and to creating the life she loves. She needs the sexual life force for that. If it's just ignored and put to the side, it can turn against her. Can I show the point in the foot again? Yeah, hang on. It's basically, I show you quickly on the doll. I have a moving camera. I didn't know how to turn that off. So it's in the first third of the foot, in the between the ball, like it's in the center. You can't really miss it. Put your finger on there, press in, and it kind of goes in, almost like a depression. You basically can't miss it. So my mat is called Biomat by Rich Way. I wonder if TCM is okay with HRT. Very good question. That's also something I have done so much research on that subject. And I have come to the conclusion that really HRT is helping to replace Jing. And women have choices. Like we can choose to nourish our Jing more ourselves. One of the things is the sexual life force, to work with that. And it actually takes work. It's not just thinking about it, it takes some work. She can balance a lot of her hormonal imbalances with that. But sometimes HRT, but with bioidentical hormones, can be absolutely necessary. I have nothing against that. And I think every woman has to have good guidance on that and has to decide for herself what's best. Because sometimes the suffering that the hormone decline, because you've lived a life until now that was very stressful, your reserves are low, and then your sex hormones will also be low. And then it's sometimes difficult to do this on your own. And I don't think we should feel bad about it if we take help in that regard. But it also doesn't work for every woman, so it really depends. Um, yeah, yeah, it's a big subject. So that's, for example, something you could bring into the Yin Sanctuary and that we will look at there more in depth over time. Are intolerances a problem with the earth element when too much came in and digestion is too weak? Yeah, totally. Like anything digestive will be first treated with the earth element. We will look at the earth element. Working with the heart meridian will be beneficial for monkey mind, anxiety, overthinking. Yes, it would be. But I would, it's not the most elegant way, let's say it like that. It's not the way how I treat here in the clinic. If there's a problem in the mind, I don't go straight for the heart. First, I tend to bring the energy down in the body. So go first for kidney 1, for example. So the heart is the emperor of the body. You don't go with every problem directly to the emperor. So you would actually more choose the pericardial meridian, for example, or like the kidneys, or depending what the anxiety is based on, you could use a element that is supportive for the fire element. Yeah, there's so much to discover here and to learn. That's a lot we do a lot with the meridians. It's a beautiful way. And you know, the more I learn about also nervous system regulation, self-touch, self-pleasure, acupressure is the perfect tool to give your body kindness and warmth and oxytocin. Is there a point that can help with overacting heart? Yeah, there are many, many, and we can go into more details another time for this. But for example, you could use simply pericardium 6. Directly calms the area of the heart, calms nausea, and just helps you to chill out. Oh, thank you, Joanna. I love having you in the Yin Sanctuary. You inspire me too. Joanna has a super cool account for plant wisdom. I learn a lot from her too. And she's been a student of the 5G and the Yins and all my courses for so many years. A lot of you that are here, I really honor you and I so appreciate your presence here. You have no idea because doing all of this, yes, one part of it is because I love learning this and I love sharing it. But the other part is to see who receives it. And it's really beautiful. It makes my heart so happy. And then the more there are questions and things that you want to know, the more I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to research this and my brain is really, I think, made for this. I'm made for what I'm doing because it's constantly flowing. I see what are the things that people need in the clinic, and then I research it and see how it is for myself, and then I share it. And so there's lots coming still, and I'm so happy you are all here. Seriously, I'm blown away also by how many turned up today. It's such an honor to see faces. Thank you. It makes me speak differently. Yes, Steffi, you were here. So, in what way does the libido turn against us? It turns against us in the sense that sexual energy that is not moving on a physical level can give simply stagnation first on a level of chi. So, it can make the flow of chi in the lower belly difficult, painful. It can cause blood clots, cysts, or further from there, depending on how long it's been going on. So blood stagnation is really something that you want to avoid, but also in a sense, in an emotional sense, like, you know, there's a reason why women gain energy when they make love and when they have sex, but men lose energy. That's a good one for us to remember. We supplement ourselves, and it doesn't have to be sexual intercourse with a partner, but even self-pleasure, taking care of yourself in this way, giving yourself a breast massage, giving yourself acupressure are all ways where you move the energy that goes. We have a direct channel from our cervix to the heart to the brain. Like that is the channel, that it's the pathway. So if we ignore the sexual force completely, there's no attention going there. So yeah, but enough for today about this. It's a very interesting subject, I know, and I have a lot to say about it, a lot. And yeah, I don't know what that is, Elena. Do you work with sunyata? I'm not sure what you mean here. Thank you, Hazel, for being here. Hazel is my assistant and she's helped to set all of this up, and I'm so happy she's here because then that's why here she is. I could concentrate on just teaching you the material. So my IG, oh no, that's not mine. It's for you. Okay, good. Yeah, perfect. John, I post your IG here. Awesome. So I was told recently that bergamot was good oil for spirit gate, but it is not a flower essence. If I think it's not as good, hey, do you know what? At the end of the day, if your Shen is happy, that's the main thing. And if bergamot makes you happier than a flower oil, use bergamot because bergamot relaxes chi. So it has a way a little bit like lavender. It will relax you, but through the back door. Not so obviously like lavender. Bergamot just makes you go, oh, this is so beautiful, and then you're relaxed. So it's very smart in that way. Now, does the pathway have a name? Yes, it has a name, the Bao Mai. Good, so for today, we're coming to the end of this session, but again, it was so cool. being here today. If there's any last questions, drop them in, or any feedback you have. If you want to share this with anyone, please do. Anyone you think needs this, and join us in the Yin Sanctuary. Like, I would love to see you there and to go deeper into these conversations with you, to explore how we women can supercharge ourselves through this phase of life. Instead of thinking we're not worth anything anymore, we're useless, that's bullshit. We're going to do it the other way. And that's what we're going to cultivate together in the Yin Sanctuary. So I love you all very much. Really, thank you for being here. And women together are a very powerful force. So thank you for being here live. I appreciate every single one of you. Let me just quickly, before you all go, I just want to see what it looks like when the screen is big, because I really tried to focus today. Oh, yeah. How do I make it? Yeah. Oh, Hazel, can you make it so I can see everyone? Remove my pin before I go and say goodbye. Yeah, so really thank you so much for being here, and come and say hello on Instagram. If you want to tag me on Instagram, I'm also always happy because it's a great way to promote this content without having to. I do everything organic, also the promotions. So you can help me with that by sharing it with anyone who needs this. And thank you. Have a beautiful evening. Mwah. Press your kidney one, drink lots of warm teas, nourish your essence, your chi, and then your Shen will be radiant. I promise you this, because this is a blueprint that's been made thousands of years ago, tested not on animals or anything like this, but on humans. And I'd love to hear from you how you go also in the future. And yeah, see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you.